Hello and welcome to TOTECS, the platform for integrated e-commerce websites. Today I'll be taking you through the latest changes we've made to the TOTECS platform in the 11.02 release. These changes are available to be utilized on any websites hosted on the TOTECS platform and allow websites to stay up to date and provide great e-commerce experiences. In this 11.02 release, 3 features have been added to the platform, as well as 13 improvements and 14 bug fixes. You can find more information about all these changes by going to the forums page from the TOTECS website. So go to totecs.com. If you click on the navigation menu, click on the forums link, and then within the forums, you can scroll down to the releases page and view all the information on the different releases. So here's all the information on the 11.02 release, and there'll be also links in the YouTube video on how to access this. The first new feature we'll be looking at today is the category tree nested navigation content managed web page area. What that all means is on a website hosted on the platform, you can now create a new area that allows you to display a list of categories, such as we have here on the left-hand side of our site, which is our demo.totecs.com. And this is a category tree area, so I can click on several categories, and I'll just scroll this down to make it easier to see. And then from the beer example, we can then have a list of second tier categories, and then from there the user can then click on a third tier to see all the third tier categories that exist that have been created in the website. So this area allows it easy for users to navigate through a complete category tree which has been loaded at the time that the web page was first drawn in the browser. So it makes it nice and easy for users to go up and down levels to find products that they're looking for, and then once they've found that, they can then go to the relevant page and view all the products assigned to that category. So it's a great way to make it easy and quick for users to find what they are looking for. Now previously this was all possible to do, but it required some heavy hitting in JavaScript and CSS, which was time consuming for implementers to build into websites. So now this area takes a lot of the hard work out of it. Now the way this area looks can be adapted widely to meet different websites' styles and themes and expectations, so that way it matches whatever brand that website or that company is looking for. Now to set up this kind of area, I'll show you how it works in the back end of the Administration Center. So within the Administration Center, if we go into the websites interface under the websites menu, and we then expand at the web area format libraries, we'll be able to see a new area has been added to the product category area type called category tree nested navigation. And what nested navigation means is that categories appear under categories which appear under other tiers of categories. So it mimics the exact structure on how category trees are being set up within an administration center. So in this case, we've got a category tree called retail, and then that has all the categories that we saw on the home page. So you can see beer is a top tier category, which can then contains a number of second tier categories, and then in this case kits is one of those, and then from within that it then has these third tier categories, so you can nest categories within other categories. Now this nested category tree navigation area does the exact same thing as what you see in this tree structure, and you can see that here when I'm clicking through those categories. So this area makes it easy for administrators as well as users to find categories and the products associated to them. Back in the administration side, if we go back to the websites, so this category tree nested navigation area has 3 different formats which are used to style how the area looks. So if we expand each of those, we've created these things called formats. And so I've created this format called a demo format, and that's where the browse our catalog, that heading that we saw within the area, is coming from. So you could change that to be whatever suits your website. So it might be, instead of browser catalog, you might change it to simply our catalog. And then once we make changes to that, if we went back to the website, then you could see where those changes have been put into effect from that area. Now if we go back to here, so we'll reverse it to the way it was previously. So the heading format displays at the top of the area before any categories are listed in it, and that's how you can control this labeling and any other styling that appears above it. Conversely, you've got the footer area, which displays at the bottom of the area. In this case, we don't have any text that displays at the bottom, but we could set text if we really wanted to, and we have that ability using this footer format. Now, the other format, which is probably the most important format of this area, is called the nested category record. And so this is the format that decides how the categories are labeled and displayed within the area. So you can see there's a whole bunch of HTML here, which is controlling each and every record. So this same format is used for each and every single category that appears, whether it's a top tier category, a second tier category, a third tier category, fourth or fifth, or however many categories you're displaying in the area. They are all using the same format. But as you can see that we've got here, that it doesn't look all the same because we've been using CSS styling in order to make different categories or different tiers look and behave in different ways. So that's what all this HTML code and some JavaScript that we've got in there that makes this all possible. So for instance, I'm currently displaying the category name that appears within this area. I didn't have to do that. We could change that instead to use the category code. So I can insert that hook there. And then what happens is once we've made this change, we'll save that change and now we'll refresh the page, and now we'll see that the categories have now got their codes as opposed to the name. So you can see here bar accessories now has a underscore as opposed to space, and some of the codes are not as nice looking. So that shows you an example how you can change just one aspect of each category listed in this tree area. The other important hook here we have is a hook called child categories list. And this is what's going to be nested within this category. So if this is a top tier category that's being used in this format, then the child category list is going to contain all the children, each of the individual categories that are the second tier categories that inherit off beer, they're going to appear within this hook. And that's how we can get this nested tree appearance in the HTML markup occurring. And there's many other hooks that are available in this format, such as you could put in a category description if you wanted to. You could put in category images. So I could put images for each of these categories. I didn't have to use just the text. So there is that ability, and there's other hooks available on being able to redirect users to load category products on other areas on the page, as well as being able to display the category in different ways based on if it is what we consider a leaf or the last childmost category in the tree, or whether or not it is being selected. So an example of this is if I then go into bargain beer starter kits, as you can see, when the page is loaded, it has by default selected that category that was set within the URL. So the area is able to track and tell the user which category they're within, and because of that, it's also been able to display all the other associated second tier categories that are associated with this one. So it can be used to expand and contract the tree based on which part the user is within. And that helps them to be able to navigate between categories as well. So I'm here in beer starter kits, and after that I might want to then navigate to the beer yeast, the firings and additives, and kegging. So you can see it's almost like related categories that the user is able to see. If they wanted to, they could hide that and then navigate to another category. So this hook is a leaf, as well as is selected or parents can be used to help style the areas in different ways and help users to navigate. So we're using this is a leaf hook here in order to say that if it is the last category, then redirect the user to the category page where they can see all the products. If it's not, then we instead can then allow the user to see the list of categories that appear within them. So that's the formats themselves. So once the formats have been created, then we need to then create this new area on a web page. So for example, this area appears on our home page and as well as all other pages, since it is a global area. So we have this area here called category listing tree, and this contains all the settings that are available for this category tree panel navigation area. So the first thing is you have to choose a tree on which you want to display the categories. So like we were showing before, we can have many category trees created within one website. So in this case, there is a lot of them, over 10. And then we've decided to use the retail category tree, but we could have used a different one. We could have used the make model. We could have used these other ones here. And this setting here allows you to choose which tree you want to use. So another tree which tends to get used a lot, is a brands tree. So we could have set up a brands tree, and then users can navigate through brands of products and find the brand that they are specifically looking for. So we could have set that up as well. Now these settings here, starting category and ending category tier, say which tiers in the categories do we want to display. We may not want to display the top tier categories. So for instance, if we're in the retail tree, maybe we don't want to display any of these top tier, but maybe we wanted to start with the second tier. So we wanted to start displaying only these categories that are not the first, but the second tier. And the reason you might do that is because the data that you've set up in your categories in other systems may not be that visually appealing, or may not contain category data that you instantly want to display. So we have this ability to then filter out and choose which tier in the category tree that we want to start from. So if we started at tier 2 and we made that change, then you'd see all these categories, you'd see all the second tier categories in the tree display instead. And that's helpful, once again, back in the brands example, because you might have brands as a top tier category and have your second tier categories be the actual brands themselves. So if there's beers, Coopers could be a second tier and so forth. And so you would want them to display here. So that's what the ability we have to do here. And the end category tier is how many tiers do you want to display categories within. You may not want to display a 5-tier category tree structure. You may want to limit it to only 3 tiers. And you do that because you don't want users to have to navigate too deep within the category tree structure to find the products they're looking for. Now, it's generally advisable if you can make your category trees as with the least amount of tiers, so the least amount of categories that appear under other categories, then the area is going to load faster from the platform servers, and users are going to be able to find the products they're looking for quicker with less clicks. So if you can, try to keep your category trees to 2 or maximum 3 tiers. And the area only allows up to 5, so if you've got more than 5, then I heavily recommend that you try to restructure your category tree to be more efficient and make it easier for users to find the products they're looking for. Now, the other settings in this area, we have up these 5-tier category tree CSS classes. So these classes are used to style the area for each different tier of categories. So the category 1 tiers are going to have this class, and then we can use hooks that are available within the nested category record, which will get placed with those CSS settings. So here, as you can see, if it is a second tier category, it has a different CSS class to a first tier. And a CSS class is used to say, in this case, for a second tier, you want to have a lighter blue, whereas if you're a first tier, you want to have a darker blue. So these CSS settings allow you to then write customized CSS classes for different category tiers, which can help make very colorful and dynamic category tree navigation. Now, after that, this next setting, category link web page, this is which web page do we want users to be directed to once they click on a category link. So at the moment it's using the website default, and we talked about that setting in the previous TOTECS release video, so 11.01, so I suggest you check that out. But we could also have the links in this area go to a specific page, such as a category page or a home page or any kind of page that you want to define. The next setting, for each category, you could specifically define the ordering in which the categories should be listed. That's what that setting does. Or you could sort by description fields or any kind of field data that's displayed in the meta fields. So there's quite flexible on how you can sort your categories and in which direction. So if we're sorting by category name and it's alphabetical, should the letters that start, the categories that start with A come first? That's what this is saying, ascending. Or should letters starting with A come last? In that case, that would be descending. You got a bit of control on how the category tree area displays the categories. So that gives you an overview of how you can use this area and the possibilities you can do for helping users to be fast and efficiently find the products on your website. So the next feature that has been added to the 11.02 release is the category tree panel navigation content managed web page area. So this is another area designed to help users to be able to navigate through a category tree to find products that they are looking for on a content manager website. It's another area that can be flexibly customized and displayed in many different ways to match your themes and branding consistent with your website. Now, this area differs from the category tree nested navigation area in which it displays categories in panels as opposed to categories inherited from other categories. So on our demo.totecs.site, we have a category tree panel example web page here, and on the left hand side is the nested navigation area, and the right hand side is the panel navigation area. So as you can see, we can still see how this area displays the top tier categories. Now if I click on beer, instead of expanding and showing child categories, what it displays is a panels. So in this case, beer has a panel which then displays its child categories. So the area can create many panels and show the parent-child relationships between each category. So beer, in this case, we can see all the tier categories, and we can do this for each different category, display its child. Now I've put some JavaScript to be able to hide or show different panels, but this could be used in more fancy ways, and I'll show an example. worldofhobbies.com.au that is run on the TOTECS platform, and this website we can see category panels which are displayed here. So as you can see, users can then click on a top level category and see, in this case, a panel that displays all the child categories assigned to, in this case, helicopters. Then they can drill down through the helicopters and find the third tier. So each tier that the user is scrolling through, they're actually going through panels of categories, which then has some advanced JavaScript and foundation framework that allows this advanced navigation to occur. So this has been also called a mega nav menu for categories to allow users to quickly find what they're looking for. So it's another way for users. So it's another way to display a category tree. As you can see here, within 2 clicks, I can find the category I'm looking for, and after that, the user can be taken to a page that then can show them the details of that specific category, or all the products assigned to that category there. So this new feature that we've added to the platform allows all these panels to be all rendered and drawn on the Content Managed web page when it first renders, with minimal effort required on the server side. So just like the other areas, if we go back into the Administration Center, if we go to the Websites menu, click on the Websites menu item, and we scroll down, there's a new area that's been created called Category Tree Panel Navigation. So it contains 2 formats to display heading and footers. So if we go back to our demo website, we have the header format, which is displaying this title called Browse Our Catalog, and the footer format would be displaying at the bottom of these list of top tier categories. So these formats here, the category tree heading and category tree footer, control what these titles are displayed at the top and the bottom of the area. Now these other formats, the category parent record and the category child record, these both control what each format within the category tree for each category appears. So the parent is the format that displays the panel and displays the top category, that all the child categories are listed within the panel. So if we have a look here, in this case we've kept it very simple. It displays a backlink as well as a category name, but we could display the category image, we could display other information such as a category description or some SEO keywords and descriptions if we wanted to. It's up to you on how you want to format the HTML in order to display in the area. And then the other hook that is of importance is this child category list. So this format will display all the child categories within the panel. So if we go open the beer panel, so within the beer panel here, you can see each of the child category records, whereas the panel is the parent category itself. So if we look at each of these formats, we can control different aspects of the panels on how each of the categories are listed within them, as well as the panel themselves. The only difference between the category child record format and the category parent record is the child category record, you cannot display any more children categories within it. So you can see here we just got a simple div that displays the category name, which is showing here. That's what each of these divs are. So to use this category tree panel navigation area, we need to add that to a content managed web page. So in this example, we have one called category tree panel. And if we look into the web page area settings, and if we go down to category tree panel navigation, it has almost the exact same settings that happened in the category tree nested navigation area. So we can set the category tree, which should display the categories. We can also say which tiers of categories should display. So maybe we don't want the top tiers, maybe we want the second and the third tiers, or maybe the third from the 3rd tier to the 5th tier of categories, so we can decide on how we want to limit which categories display in the area. We can also set CSS classes for each tier of the categories that display, and then we can write CSS classes that style different categories based on their relationships through those CSS classes. And we can also say which web page should categories link to. So when the user wants to view the products associated with the category, which page should they be taken to? Once again, this category is set up to the website default, so it would use whichever category page is being assigned to the Content Manage website. We can also sort the categories by name, code, and several other options, and decide if we want the direction of the sorting to be ascending, top to bottom, or bottom to top. So once you've got those settings, you've added the area onto the page, then it's just a case of writing some CSS and some JavaScript in order to get the same kind of functionality that you see on both the demo site here or on the World Hobbies site here as well, where you get these advanced drill down menu options. That takes care of these two new areas, but what you can do is use them both together in a mobile responsive website. So in this case, if the website is resized to work in a small mobile device, then we can see that the user is able to use the category tree nested navigation area, as you can see here, in order to navigate through the category tree. But if they're on a larger size device, then they can use the drill down menus, which is displayed here using the category tree panel navigation, and that allows the user to see more information about the categories and also be able to go back and forth between them. So using these two category tree areas together can help websites load quicker, and it can help and make it easier and quicker for implementers to create some very creative and very customized category tree navigations. And the utmost importance is for users to be able to easily find products, and that's what these two features enable. The next new feature we'll be looking at is the Append to Order Detailed Content Managed web page area. So this is a feature that has been in the TOTECS platform for many years, and now we have ported it from the trade interface, which is a very fixed and rigid interface, into a content managed website to allow people who are purchasers within an organization to submit orders to a manager, and only once the manager has approved the order is the order allowed to be submitted for processing and dispatch. First, I'll go through the setup required for the Purchaser Manager Approvals feature. If we go into the Administration Center, there's a feature under the Users menu called Purchaser Manager Approvals. And as in with this interface where we assign one user to be a purchasing user and the other user to be a managing user that will receive notifications and be able to approve or decline orders submitted by the purchasing user. So we need to have two users created in the system first. And for an example here, I have created two users. And I've just given them simple names so we can identify them. So there's one user called Purchaser and there's another user called Purchaser Manager. So Purchaser Manager is going to be the manager and Purchaser is going to be the person who's going to initially create the orders. So once we've got these users created, I've got them assigned to the same account, and that account also has the on-account payment method allowed, and it needs to be set up this way so that way the purchasing user can only submit orders for approval when the payment method is on account, so that ensures that payments aren't applied against orders before they have actually been approved. So if we go back into the Purchaser Manager Approvals, we just need to then type in the account, which was ACC005, so the autocomplete will finish the job off, and then we can choose our user, which is the purchaser, and then we type in the same account again, and then we type in selecting the Purchaser Manager. So once we click the Add Manager button, there's now a relationship that has been set up between these two users, which can then now be used. Now, before we do that, we have to also turn on the Purchaser Manager feature, which is within the Stores menu under the General Settings. And there's a permission here called Purchaser Manager. So this setting has to be turned on to enable this feature to work. And the other setting we have to do is within the user permissions. We need to modify the facility role permissions to allow the managing user to be able to approve pending orders. So that's what this View Purchaser Manager Orders, we need that setting to be set to allow. And this other setting, Modify Pending Orders, gives also the managing user the ability to modify a pending order, an order requiring their approval before having it sent off and submitted. So this allows the manager to override changes and make changes on many different aspects about the order. So once we've got these users created, we've turned on the feature, we've set up the permissions. That facility role needs to be assigned to the manager. So we need to make sure that if we find the managing user and we select that role has been assigned to them, in this case, all users under this website assigned to that role. Now there's then the ability for the purchasing user to be able to submit orders for pending approval. So if we go back to the home site, I will log in as that specific user. Now that the purchasing user is logged in, they just need to add some products to basket. So we'll add this product. And now they can proceed through the checkout processes and submit the order. So the user clicks next, goes through the checkout. They will select address, but it's already been selected for them. They'll put in any reference numbers and details and instructions. Then they will complete by clicking the next button, and then they can view the details of the order and accept the terms and conditions and have the order submitted. Now, because this is a pending user, you could also have a message saying that the order is pending their approval. But from this point of view, from the purchasing user, the order has been submitted and now it just waits them for approval. Now, from the purchasing manager's point of view, we just need to log in as the purchasing manager. Now, with the purchasing manager logged in, we can see that the managing user is being able to see this message that the purchasing user didn't see. So if we go back to purchasing, here's how the homepage looks to them. They don't see the message. The purchaser managing user does see this message. In this case, it's telling them that user has one order that is awaiting their approval. So this area is called a user detail area that has been added to the page, and this area can be used to display a count of how many orders that this managing user needs to approve. So when the user clicks on this link, they can be taken to a page which shows all the orders which are requiring their approval. So this area is called the User Details Favorites Orders area, and it's been styled with formats that allow to display these buttons, such as modify, approve, or decline the order. Now these buttons can only display because this is a pending order, and that's what we've got this icon here. So this area can be displayed in many different ways depending on the themes and branding of your specific website. So from a manager's perspective, they've got a job now of whether or not they want to approve this order number 10, or if they want to decline the order, or do they want to modify it. So the new feature that we've added, if they decide to click on the modify button, then they get taken to this new area called a pending order detail area, where they can view different details of that order, that pending order. So in this case, they could change the purchase order number by typing in more numbers or letters. They could click the update button, which would then save the updated changes of that order. They could also change the carrier of the order if they wanted to, click the update button. They can also change the billing address. They can change the delivery address. They can change the quantities of the order. So if they wanted to order 4 as opposed to 1, they could update the quantities. And then you can see the new pricing. They could remove the lines. They can add new products to the order if they really wanted to. And then you can see once they make changes to the order, then the new totals. So once the order's quantity or any changes are made, then surcharges are recalculated to reflect the new settings that have been added to the order. And they can also update instructions. So this whole area can be displayed to be consistent with the website it appears. So the billing address I didn't have to put here. I could have easily put down after the delivery address and vice versa. So once the managing user has accepted this, then they can go back to the order listing and then they can then approve the order. So once it's approved, then it's ready to be sent, submitted, and be processed and dispatched out all the ordered goods. In order to set this up from the administration side, we need to do a few things. On the website's interface, we need to add, there's a new area that's been added under the web area format libraries, and that's under this area called order checkout. And there's a new area there called pending order approval. So there's a number of formats that display here. And the ones that are of most important are the pending order details. So this is the format displays all the different hooks that are available to modify the areas of the order. So that's what we have here. And you can see there's a lot of hooks available in order to do that. So you can pick and choose which elements the user is allowed to modify of the pending order through this format. You can also display how the areas such as the labeling of the different parts of the order can be modified, as well as if you want to give the user the ability to add new products to the order and how the order totals are displayed as well. So this format is the main area that allows users to see and modify details of the order. And then the other formats control how the products are labeled, how the attachments under each products, and how we have, if there was any deals applied to the order, these formats control all that information. So that controls the pending order review area. In the user account management area, area types under the user details format. So under the historic order record, you can see here, this is the HTML markup, which controls whether or not the pending orders, if the user has the ability to approve, decline, we can control how the labels of those buttons appear, as well as the modify buttons, and we can add other elements that decide if these buttons should display based on if it's a pending order. So there's new hooks that have been added here that allow the user to be able to control what aspects the user can, of a managing user can approve or decline the order. And the other area that has been modified is under the user accounts management area, and that's under the user detail, so that format has had new hooks created. And so under this format, there are hooks now to be able to display if the user can see, in this case, the message that I had on the left-hand side and telling them how many orders that await their approval. So we have a user detail area that links to the user detail favorites orders area, which can then link to the pending order review area to allow the purchaser manager approvals feature to be displayed on a content manager website. So as you can see here, we have a user detail area, which can then link to a user details favorites and orders area, which is this area here, which can then link to the pending order review area that displays all the information here. And this allows the purchaser manager approvals feature to be highly customized in a content manager website. Now, the next improvement we added also to the purchaser manager approvals, if we go back to the administration center and go under the users menu into the purchaser manager approvals interface, is that there's a new button here that displays called conditions. So we can now place conditions on if the purchasing user requires an order to be approved by a manager, or the order is allowed to be automatically submitted without requiring the manager's approval. So we have two conditions which can be set. So the first condition, the purchasing user is allowed to submit an order without their manager's approval if any of the products ordered are on a contract. So if that is set to yes, then that is allowed to happen. So this means that if there's pre-agreed products that can be bought from one organization, then the purchasing users can buy as many of those products as is required without requiring manager's approval. What could be set up is the manager submits a list and go, all these products can be ordered by our purchasing users without my approval. And then that can be set up as a contract within an accounting system or as a web contract through the administration center, and then allow those orders with those products to flow through automatically. So this can reduce the workload of the manager. The other condition that you can set is that if the order is under a specific total, then the purchaser is allowed to automatically have that order submitted. So at the moment, we can say if this user called purchaser orders under $500 worth of products, then that order is allowed to be submitted for processing without requiring manager's approval. If it is greater than $500, then the manager will receive the order and they will have to approve it before it is processed. You can change this number. You could make this higher, you could make this lower, depending on what is the limits that manager will allow. Now, there's this other option is that you can say when only both these conditions are met, such as when an ordered product is on a contract and when the order is under $500, will the order be allowed to be submitted automatically by the purchaser and not require the manager's approval. Or you can change it to any condition. So if the order is under $500 or contains a product, either of those conditions, then the order is automatically allowed to be submitted. So it's up to talking with the organizations, the manager and the purchaser of a specific customer's organization to work out what are their conditions, and then you can set them up here. Now you can have multiple conditions across, you can say assign a purchaser to many managers, and then you can have different managers have different conditions. such as a specific manager will not allow orders under $500, but another manager will. And then when those conditions are hit, then the orders can be submitted through or they can be blocked through. So it's worth playing around with this if you're dealing with complex customer organizations that have very strict rules in how this can be set. So once these conditions have been set, so let's just say if this order total is under $500 and any of these conditions are met, then the next time the purchasing user creates an order, so we just go into the browser, and this, as the purchasing user, when they view the cart, they can submit this order. Because this is under $500, they can check out, they'll go through the ordering process, click the next button, accept the terms and conditions, and click the submit button. Then the order will be automatically sent for processing, as you can see here. So that wraps up the changes and features that have been implemented for the Purchaser Manager approvals onto a Content Managed website. If you need any further help about this, feel free to ask any questions on the forums on how to configure and set this up. The next improvement we've added to the 11.02 release is the ability to customize the labeling for volume discounts. And this can be done both within the trade interface as well as on content managed sites that display the volume discounts in the product detail area. So for example, we have this product on our demo site called Cooper's Australian Pale Ale. And as you can see, the price of this product varies depending on the quantity that we buy. So we buy 5 and we'll get the product for $15 each. Whereas if we buy 10, we only get them for $14.20. So the more we buy, the more the discounts are on a per unit basis. Now what we can do is we can customize the labeling of this now. If we go into the Administration Center, click on the Inventory menu and then scroll down to the Product Settings. And if we go down to the Product Settings, there's been a few settings that have been added. And the new settings that have been added are the volume discount record format. So if we click on the modify format, then you can see the same text that was displaying before. So in this case, it says buy whatever the quantity break is, and then whatever the label is for a given price, and that's what these are. So there's a number of hooks here and where we can display different pieces of information about the volume discount. Now we might want to change the labeling here, and then from buy, let's change the word buy to get. So we can change this term here, click on the get link, and then once we save this, so we save this setting, and then we can scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on the save button. And then once that save has been changed, refresh the page. And as you can see here, the word buy has been replaced with the word get. And now we can make other changes. So we may not want to display the tax. We could remove that if we wanted to. We could get rid of the each or the units if we wanted to, or we could change them, and we could also change the quantities here. So this setting, volume discount record format, is applicable to both the trade interface. Anywhere you see that the volume discounts within the trade interface, this setting will also update it, which is available there. The other setting that we've added to the platform is the setting called volume discount quantity label offset. And what this setting controls is, as we saw here, we have these individual quantities such as 5, 10, and 15. What we can do is we can actually increment them. From 5, we can increment it up to 6, 10, and 15. Now, the reason why we might do that is because in an accounting system, the volume discount rule might be buy over 5 and get the product for $15, buy over 10 and get it for $14.20. But from the user perspective, they're not seeing the actual quantity that they need to buy, which in this case would be 6 as opposed to a quantity over 5. So what we can do with this new setting that we've created is put an amount that we want to update the quantity by that the user will see. It's not the amount that the quantity break discount applies to, but it's the quantity that the user will see that allows them to understand the quantity that they need to enter against the product. So we change it to 1. Once again, scroll down, click on the save button. And then as you can see here, all the quantities will be incremented by 1. So you can also do negative numbers if you want to go less than, or if your system supports buy less than a certain quantity, then you get the product for a certain price. It's up to you to control that. Now this setting applies to all products across the board's quantities, so it's important to understand that. And it is only an indicator for the user what the offset is. It doesn't actually factor into the calculations of the products themselves, the quantity breaks. The third setting that you might not be aware of is this setting called volume discounts threshold direction. So this says what quantity does the price of the volume discount apply at, and now it's currently set to equal and above quantity. So if the user, in this case, where the rule was buy 5 for $15, is actually buy 5 or more and get the product for $15. But you can change that, and this setting needs to be configured to the same rules that apply into your accounting system. So for example, if you're using MyOb Account Premier, then this setting had to be set to above the quantity. And that's when this offset becomes really relevant, for when it's above a quantity or below a quantity, such as in an attaché system, which this offset can be used at. So using the combination of these two, you can then completely customize the labeling of volume discounts, both in the content managed site as well as the trade interface. In the 11.02 release, the next feature we've added is a new deal, in which allows users to buy products at a given price level based on when the basket total is over a specified amount. So if we go into the Administration Center, under the Marketing menu within the Product Deals and Vouchers interface, a few changes have been added to the interface. First, we've added coloring to both the start, end date, and active of deals. And what this means is that only if a deal is all in green across these 3 different fields is the deal actually active. So it allows you to easily visually see that a deal is or is not active. So already by default, we can see that all these deals will not be able to be redeemable since the end date has already passed on all of them. But the new deal that we're talking about creating is this deal called buy over X price of product basket total and get product at price level Y. So we'll just create a new deal called basket deal, and we'll create this deal, and as you can see here, we'll change its start date to be a year later. Now we've also got that set, and we'll make this redeemable when any time a user adds it to basket. So we'll make it an unlimited deal, and we'll set the redemption mode to be automatically redeemable when a product is added to basket. So we'll save that, and what we'll do is we'll set some products that deal is accredited against. So we'll set it for any products. So this deal is applicable to all products. So we'll select that rule, and now all products have been assigned to the deal, as we can see here, across the whole inventory that's within this project. Now the last step is then to set the users against the deal. So in this case, we want all users. And then once we selected that, we clicked on the save and recalculate. So that's assigned all users within the project to the deal. So let's take an example. When the user's basket is over $100, then they can get products at a different specified price level. So we still have to specify the price level. And in this case, I will choose an example product. So in this case, we've got this product here called 15600 is the product code. And if we scroll down, we can say that if they buy over a certain amount in the basket, they will no longer get the product for $17.95. We can set it that they get the product assigned to price level A at $15.95. Now price level A, if we go back into the price levels interface, which can be found by going to inventory and go into the price levels, we can see each of the price levels here, and there's the IDs of the price levels. So that price level we were dealing with that contained the $15 was price level 4. Go back into deals and vouchers, we'll put in that price level ID as 4. The system will be happy now. Now that deal is now active and available. And the last part is for the user to then be able to redeem the deal. So they have to go into the website, which we have here, and they have to buy enough of a product for the deal. So at the moment, this product is at $17.95. That's a product that this deal would be, that is applicable to. So the user would have to buy over 100 of this product in order to then get a cheaper price. And let's just put an example here. So 13, if we buy 10 of them, should be around about $130. So that's add that product to basket. Now, if we add this product, normally it would be $17.95, but if the deal is in place, if we go to the shopping cart page, then we can see where this discount has been applied. In this case, you see this orange line coming up saying that because the deal has been applied once, since the basket is over $100, the discount has been 40 cents. If we remove the quantities from the other item, then the basket total would fall under the threshold and then the discount would no longer apply. So you can see how it applies because this is an automatic deal. So that means that anytime the user adds the quantities to the basket, the deals and vouchers feature will recalculate any deals and apply them to products in the existing basket. This is a great deal to entice people to buy more products because then they'll get more discounts against the unit prices. Now, it's a great deal because it also, you can use the existing quantity breaks across different price levels of a product, as opposed to having to define new deals. So if in your accounting system that you have different price levels at different rates, you may be able to set up another price level, call it the discounted rate, and then you can use this new deal offer to allow users to be assigned to another price level and receive a cheaper price, but only when the basket is over a certain amount. Now, you can also have multiple deals set with the same offer of buy a certain quantity over the basket total and get the price off a different price level. So in effect, you could use deals as quantity breaks themselves or as volume discounts in order to then reassign users to different price levels for specific products. So it is highly customizable and it can be work with in your existing price structures as opposed to having to define new percentages off, which you can do if you need to as well. Now, the thing about this deal that it is important to note is that it checks the basket total before any deals have been applied. So if you had multiple deals, if there's a deal applied to this line here where it says buy two for $12 as opposed to buying it for $126, then it will calculate the total of the basket if the product was at $126 and then apply the discount across that. So you just got to important to note that this is a special deal, this basket level deal, which it looks at the basket total before any offers have been applied, and this makes sure we don't get into a stage where if the deal was applied then it would no longer reach the basket threshold, but if it didn't reach the basket threshold, then it would have a higher total of the line, which would then allow the deal offer to kick in. So it gets around this infinite loop situation by always comparing the prices before any discounts. So you need to be wary of just having lots of deals on offer at the same time, because then you could be discounting of a certain products, and that discounted products would not be discount in the eyes of the total of this for this deal offer, which would mean further discounting was allowed to occur. So be careful, play around with it and find out what works best for your business. The next feature we've added is the ability to display product price level prices for users within Product Detail Content Manager web page areas. So that means on our demo site here of demo.totecs.com, on a product detail page, we're displaying here the details of this Cooper's Canadian Blonde product. So it's a beer product, and what the new feature we've added, the improvement is for the product detail area to be able to list each of the price level prices against this product. So this user can see all the different prices which are available. So price level A, this product costs $15.95. Price level B and all the other price levels, it costs $17.95. You may want to do this if the user is allowed to see what discounts are possible based on the previous deal offer that we talked about. So normally this user, and I'm logged in with a user called Purchaser, their price level for their account is at price level D. But they know that if they buy over a certain amount of the basket total, then they could get the price level A price. So you may want to show the price level prices to incentivize users to buy more products which are associated with given deals, and then to be able to get that cheaper price. The other thing is you may want to show it only for specific sales rep users, so that our sales reps know what is the prices where they're allowed to discount up to before they're reaching cost prices of products. So this feature can be tweaked and tailored for different users to be able to see this information and to hide users from not seeing this information. And what we do that through the Administration Center. If from the home page you go into the Users menu and click on User Permissions, click on the Modify the Roles, under the Facility Roles, there's a new permission that has been added called View Product All Price Level Prices. So any users assigned to this permission role, this facility role, that have this ability, that have this permission set to view all the price level prices, then we'll be able to see this information in a product details areas on a content managed site. So if you did not want users to be able to see this information, and that is the default out of the box, then you would have this setting set to deny, and then you would assign certain users to you'd create more facility roles to give other users who have these extra permissions the ability to turn that permission on. So you could create another role. So at the moment, this website's only got one role, and it's called our default, but then we could add another role, and we could call it our sales rep role. And after creating that, we could then turn on this permission here to view all the price level prices, and we could, once we scroll down and save that setting, we could then assign a person to that role. So let's just go back into assign users to roles, and then we can choose our user. So in our previous example, we're talking about purchaser manager. So I could just type in the purchaser manager user, and he may have the ability to be assigned to the sales rep role. Click the save user roles button, and now he will be able to see the price level prices on this page, but not the other users, because we did not allow that to happen. Now, within this area itself, users can then add products to basket from this area, and if it's a sales rep user, then they're allowed to get the price that is flagged against the price level. So if a sales rep user had the permission, they could click on add, and to add products to basket with a certain price level, then they can do it from here. If the user does not have that permission, then they will always get their price level that they're assigned to, regardless if they've clicked add to basket from a different price level. Now, if there was packs involved, they would be able to choose the packs. You can also customize the way that this works. Customization happens within the website's interface. If we go into the product detail area types, within that format, there's been a new hook that's been added called product price levels prices div, and this is what will display each of these records. And those records themselves are controlled through a format we call product price level price. So as you see here, so you can customize, and you may choose that you don't want to display the price level itself. You may not want to display an add to cart basket. You may not want to display a quantity basket. You may want to put some different text around each record. It's up to you. You may want to put the quantity box at the start or at the end. It's up to you and how you want to position each of the elements for each price level price record, and that's what this format here controls. So through that, you've got a lot of customizations about this area displays. I may not want to have used the text called price level prices. I may have wanted to come up with a different title, such as I may want to call it deal prices. If price levels were used to incentivize users to get different deals. Refresh the page. You can see now I've changed the title of that text to deal prices. Now I could also format it in many different ways through using CSS and styling as well. So it is a very customizable area. I would recommend for most people, for most websites, that you don't show all your price levels, because potentially if you're showing your cost price levels, or you're just displaying the RRP price levels and then other price levels that users you probably don't want your customers to see, then that could become a problem. So it's definitely advisable only to turn this feature on if you absolutely must have it turned on. The next improvement we've added to the platform is within the inventory menu under the product search. We've added new ways to search for products, what we call a search rule. So if you click on all products and then go to the bottom and select all products where, and this is when you can say only find products that are equal to and that match a certain product code, a SEO code, a name, a barcode, an inner barcode, a brand, class, or supplier. So you can then filter. Maybe you want to find products that just have a certain word within the product code, or in this case, we'll try the name. So we can go find all products that have the word Cooper within its name, and then we can see all the results that have come up here. And as you can see, most of these words Cooper's starts first. But we could say if it was ending in Cooper's, then find products. In this case, there's no products ending with Cooper. And then we could say that it's specifically matching the word Cooper. So that you can do some search filters in order to find products in different ways. Now, you could find all find all products where the name is not, where Cooper is not in the name. In this case, it can find majority of the products. So this is a handy way to find products within the inventory within your project hosted on the TOTECS platform. Now these search rules is also available in the product deals and vouchers. So if we go into marketing menu, go to product deals and vouchers, you could use this rule. So in this case, I want to create a rule that finds all products. So in this case, we go once again into the search category and choose the where clause and go find products that contain the word Coopers in the name. And now if we click on the same, and in this case, get our spelling right, click on the save button, and we just remove the other search rule. Now once I click the regenerate list, you can see that only the products that have the word Coopers in the name have now been applied to this deal. This search rule makes it nice and easy to find a whole range of products that you can then add to a product deal in a few simple clicks, as opposed to having to import CSV files or manually add products on a one-by-one basis, which could take a very long period of time. So this search filter is a very handy way to make it quick and easy to find products as well as to assign them to deals. And there's many other search filters which are available through the admin center as well. So have a play with these, and you can do a lot of great things on finding products, such as you may only want to find products that are active and available in the website, or you want to find all products that have been inactivated and are hidden on the website. So that could tell you if there's data there that needs to be modified, or if there's products that need to be added to your accounting system, because when you switched over systems, those products weren't added by default. So you've got this ability to find a whole range of different products. A small minor improvement we've added to the platform is within the tax codes interface, we're now displaying more information about the tax codes that we have. So tax codes can have a tax code ID, which is an internal ID of a tax code. They can have a tax code which comes out of an accounting system. They can have a label, they can have a description, and they can have a tax rate and an active. So we've added a few more fields here, and different accounting systems will fill out these information, and then you can potentially display this information on your content managed websites or in the trade interface to make it easy to know what taxes are applied to your products. Another improvement we've made to the platform is to do with projects traffic statistics. Under the statistics menu within the administration center, if we click on the project traffic statistics, that will take us to show us all the traffic that is hitting our websites. And then if we scroll down to the section called Request by Search Engines and Crawlers, in this case for March 2017, you can see all the different pieces of automated software from different companies out in the world which are trawling through the public websites and web pages that your sites provide. So you can see Google here is trawling, and is only trawling a small percentage compared to all the other crawlers that are out there. So the improvement we've made is that we're now recording this bot called AI hit data from the list of over 20 different bots that we're now detecting. And AI hit data is yet another crawler that goes through and it looks for company related information, so that way other people can do lookups on your website and find out information about the organization that sits behind it. So it is not necessarily a bad bot. It may not be a good bot. It depends on how you value the data that they take from your website. So some bots, such as Google, is a very good bot because it allows people to use Google's services in order to be directed to your website and find the information you make available. Some of these other crawlers may be not so useful, and if you find that you're getting a lot of traffic from specific crawlers, then it might be advisable to talk to us about setting up blockers to stop them from being able to do this. And a lot of the time they have also their own forms that can be filled out to stop traffic as well. So it is important as a part of being a website administrator is to see the kind of traffic that is being generated on your site and to take actions accordingly. And as we detect more and more kinds of automated software, we will be continually adding more bots to this list, so that way you get a greater list of what kind of traffic is hitting your site on a day-to-day basis. Another improvement we've added to the platform is when a user checks out from a content managed website and goes through the order submission process. When they go through this process, previously when they after clicking the next button, reviewing the order, if they had double clicked on the submit button, then this would have caused 2 requests to be sent to the server, and one of those requests would have successfully submitted the order. The other one would have said that the order was already previously submitted and the user may have seen an error message. So if the user now double clicks the submit button, it will force only 1 request to be sent to the server, to the TOTECS platforms, to submit the order. So it protects the user from seeing an error message if they decide to do a double click. So that covers the new features, a range of improvements for the 11.02 TOTECS platform release. There's also been a handful of bugs that have been fixed over the time. You can read more about the bug fixes within the TOTECS release notes on the forums. If you have any questions or comments, I would recommend attending the TOTECS seminar for 2017, which is on the 22nd and 23rd of March, and you can go to the TOTECS.com webpage and buy your tickets to register your interest in the seminar. In the seminar, we're going to be covering a whole range of different topics that can help propel your website online and make it sure it's firing to all your users. For any other questions or comments, feel free to go to the forums by going to TOTECS.com, from the navigation bar, clicking on the forums links, and then posting a comment under the forum which is of particular relevance to your issue or question or comment. And we will be happy to answer you